From the snow-capped mountains of the west to the cypress swamps of the south and everywhere in between. This is the Southern Flight Podcast. I'm your host, Robbie Nelson. You are listening to the Southern Flight Podcast, coming at you live from the Nelson Sign Shop studio here in the big town of Deering, Georgia. Today is going to be a bonus episode. So I have something that's been bugging me all turkey season. And I have said that I don't really turkey hunt a ton on this podcast, but I still follow along with everybody's hunts and what everybody's doing. And I've also seen this trend on the waterfowl side of things. And who knows if it's going to go into the deer hunting world. It may already have, and I just have not seen it. But the topic I want to discuss here for a little while today is displaying your birds or your hunts on social media. One of the things that has been driving me absolutely nuts is these stupid TikTok dances where you've got, in a lot of cases, grown men with beards grayer than this one you're looking at right here, kill a turkey, and then him and his buddy or him and whoever put on a makeshift headband and pull a feather out the turkey and put it in there and start doing this dance around the turkey, you know, and they're patty caking back and forth like 7-year-old schoolgirls and got some rap song you can't even understand the words to going on in the background. And hey, man, I listen to a little bit of everything, but in this case, it makes you look stupid. I'm just going to call it what it is. You dancing around a dead animal on TikTok or a Facebook reel for views is just dumb. It is. It not only is it dumb, but it makes you look like a clown. Imagine all the anti-hunters that are out there in this world on social media, and when they come across a video like this, they already have all the ammunition in the world, or their own beliefs, I guess is what I'm trying to say, that we shouldn't be allowed to hunt and this and that, whatever. And I think they're crazy for it, obviously. It should be a God-given right that we're allowed to hunt. I mean, we have these canine teeth in our mouth for a reason. God put them there, and we're made to eat meat. If you choose not to eat meat, whatever, that's your decision. But don't pull another man down for wanting to do that. But to circle back to where I was going with this is, we don't need to give these guys any more fuel or any more ammunition. So could you imagine being an anti-hunter and you're scrolling on TikTok and all of a sudden here comes across two, what appears to be stupid rednecks jumping around a turkey with feathers on their head and beating together with some stupid song. I mean, it makes hunters look bad. It does. If I was an anti-hunter, I would go, yep, this is why. This furthers our cause right here. And honestly, it's kind of hard to disagree with them on that aspect. I'm the furthest thing from an anti-hunter you'll ever find. But I will say that is nothing but ammunition for those guys. It really is. It makes you look like you don't care about taking a life of another animal. I'm all about displaying the birds or deer or whatever it is you're after, but in this case birds, and taking a very nice picture to preserve that memory. By all accounts, I am the picture guy of any group that I'm hunting with, so I'll take extra time with the birds as we're picking them up to try to not let them get in the mud. I don't love wringing their necks. I don't love all that stuff. Now, I'm talking about ducks because that's more about what I do. But anyway, at the end of the day, take you a very nice picture that respects the animal, that the animal's presented nicely. Save it for your memory. Share it on Facebook if you want, TikTok, whatever. Do whatever you want to do. But this dancing with songs and clapping your hands, like, seriously, it looks like elementary schoolgirls playing patty cake or something. I mean, it's cringy, man. It is. There's no way around it. I know that us hunters should try to come together on things and not try to put each other down. I know I listen to a lot of Michael Waddell stuff, and a lot of his stuff, and he makes great points. We'll come across like, hey, man, let the guy hunt how he wants to hunt. Let him kill that turkey how he wants to kill that turkey. If he wants to walk out there, and I don't know that Michael Waddell exactly said this, but in other words, let me back off the turkeys and go on the deer, because I have heard him say something along this paraphrasing like, hey, man, if you want to shoot that spike and, you only get to hunt X amount of days a year and you don't have great hunting property and that spike will help feed your family, do that, by all means, shoot the spike. I mean, a hunter putting another hunter down for shooting the spike or shooting the 2-year-old deer versus a 6-year-old deer, sure, it might not be what I want to do, but it's not right for me to tell you what not to do if it's your property or you're hunting on public land or whatever the case may be. If it doesn't directly affect me in that situation, I don't have any bone to pick with it. But the TikTok dancing around dead animals is beyond that. That's just disrespectful to the animal. It really is. And it gives hunters the bad name. We need to obviously be coming together and not fighting against each other, but we also got to help ourselves. We don't need to look like a bunch of clowns on social media when we're hunting and posting pictures or videos. We just don't, guys. I mean, and I know I'm going to get hate mail for this, and I'll be honest with you, I really don't give a damn. I don't. I think maybe I'm becoming that early old man that looks at this stuff and just like, what in the living hell are we doing here? I don't understand it. I never will understand it. And I know it's gone over into the duck side of things because I guess my algorithm somehow knows to show me things that I hate. And there was a video, and I'm not going to call the guys out, but they're actually kind of local to here where I'm at, that I don't know where they were hunting, and that doesn't matter, but they had fistfuls of ducks, and I'm talking like grown-ass men. These aren't teenagers. These aren't kids. These are grown-ass men holding piles of ducks, standing back-to-back, dancing to some trendy song with somebody running around circles with them, videoing them, and they're dancing, holding these ducks, and it's just stupid. I mean, there's just nothing else to describe that. It's stupid, it's disrespectful, and it makes us look like a bunch of hillbilly morons. It really does. So I encourage everybody to hashtag make them famous on this, and not make them famous in a good way. We need to bring back some bullying again on this kind of stuff. I'm a firm believer in that. We don't need to sit there and accept that this is like the new normal, because it's not. You took the life of something, respect it. Eat the birds, take nice pictures of the birds, post them up, but portray this animal and display this animal, whatever the animal is, in a manner that is respectful. Dancing with dead animals is the furthest thing from respectful as you'll get. It really is. I hope that this catches plant in a few people's head that will see this. I know that there will probably be a couple guys that I can think of that will watch this, and they have partaken in some of that nonsense I'm talking about. And man, I'm not going to sit on here and call guys' names out. I ain't going to do that. If you get mad at this or whatever, if the shoe fits, wear it. If you want to come back and attack at me for being, a fuddy dud or whatever the case may be, I really don't care. I just feel like this needs to be said, and we as hunters owe it to the bird, and we owe it to ourselves to act like we have some sense. And acting like we have some sense is not dancing around a dead animal. That's just kind of how I feel about that. Moving on from that, another thing I've noticed since I've started doing this podcast is the amount of hate people will spew out over anything, really, just anything. And I know I just went on a rant right there, but I felt like that rant was warranted. And maybe some of these guys that get on social media and hate on stuff are ranting because they feel like it's justified. I don't know. But I'll post something, a podcast, for instance, and somebody might not agree with something. And man, I've gotten some pretty nasty messages and even some text messages and all. I mean, hell, I even got one from a guy last night at like 2 a.m. And that is no joke. A message from a fella that disagreed with, I guess, something I said on a podcast. And that's fine. You know, if you want to disagree, you want to do all that, that's one thing. But guys, this is a podcast. So this is an opinion-based, for the most part, unless we have some facts to back it up. You know, this is opinion-based podcast. If you don't like it, you know, you don't have to listen to it. I mean, I want the listeners, obviously, or I wouldn't be doing this. But you could always scroll right on by. You know, if you don't like it, move on. I mean, who cares? And I know there's somebody listening to this right now that says, well, you could just scroll past those turkeys that they were doing the TikTok dance over. And you know what? I guess that part is true. But I feel strongly enough about that portrays us as hunters in a bad light that I feel like I should say something about that. That's not... it is an opinion. It's an opinion of mine for sure. It's an opinion that's a terrible thing that we're doing. But I feel strongly enough about it that it doesn't just trigger me. I think it could trigger anti-hunters. It could trigger people, more importantly, that may be on that line. You know, they might not hunt, but they might not be against it. They may just kind of be somewhere in the middle that, you know, they've never pulled the trigger and taken the life of an animal, but they also might not care that you do. But when they see stuff like that, it could very easily push them the other way. You see my companion coming in here. That's my buddy River Dog, for those of y'all that haven't seen him if you're watching this. But anyway, go lay down, buddy. But back on the opinions on Facebook, some of the stuff I get messages about are just honestly silly. Just silly stuff that gets people wound up because for instance, flooded corn. You know, I had the guy on the podcast just to hear his side on it, and I've actually, I do have somebody coming on to hear the opposing opinion of that later on this week. So I just had the guy on. I didn't say I agreed with him or disagreed with everything that he said, but hold on just a second here. All right, I'm back with you. Sorry, my dog thought it'd be a great time to get a water bottle out the trash can and start chewing on it, so I know it was going to be in everybody's ear on this microphone, so I'll let him out. You know, I got several nasty messages about that. Like, I get it. I guess that's near and dear to everybody's heart, or I guess not everybody's, but if you're in the South or right above, basically what I have learned with that is if you're above a certain line drawn where the corn's at, most people are for it. If you're below it, most people are against it. Now, that is a blanket statement that is obviously not 100%, but it's just my general observation of people that I've talked to. So, anyway, you know, the hating and stuff on social media just for no reason, really, arguing people. And this goes way, way beyond just me. I mean, I've got thick enough skin with that whatever. I mean, it's like I just look at stuff and just shake my head sometimes. And I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about, guys. I mean, I said when I started this, if I find it interesting, I'm going to talk about it. I may not agree with everybody, and that's okay, because stuff, good conversations happen when there are opposing views and you can have some sort of structured conversation around those views. If everybody agreed with everything all the time, it would just be boring. So, you know, I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. So I'm not going to let anybody sit here and tell me, hey, you don't need to talk about this or you don't need to talk about that. You can kick rocks, man. Like, go listen to another podcast. I'm not doing this for money. I don't make a dime on this. I don't have any sponsors yet, at least, but I don't have any sponsors on this. And this podcast does nothing but cost me money and cost me time. So I'm not going to let anybody tell me what I can or can't talk about. You have the option to listen to it or not. And that's totally up to you. I mean, I hope you listen to it. If you're listening to this and you don't agree with everything I said and you're still listening to it. Kudos to you for listening to a view of somebody else other than your own. That's a lot of the problem in this world today, is everybody is so one way or another on everything that there's no meaningful conversation that can be had about anything. And now we're really stepping out of hunting. Our politics is the same way, and I'm not going to sit here and go down the politics trail, but it is the same way. Everybody is so far one way or so far the other way that they can't see the daylight somewhere in the middle. They're way out here on the dark on the right or way out here on the dark on the left, and that light's shining probably somewhere in about that middle. And the same could be said just about any topic of anything in life. So, listen to other people, man. I listen to people all the time that I don't agree with on podcast. Sometimes I'll go listen to a strong left-leaning podcast just because I want to know what the other people are talking about. I mean, I don't listen to them all the time every day, but if there's somebody that I know has gaining traction or, a big public figure or something, and I don't agree with them, I don't want to hear everything they got to say all day, every day, but I will hit the highlights because it's important to know what these guys are thinking because they've got followers. I mean, they got followers, and these people can go vote. These people can do everything that you do. So you need to be paying attention. You can't just bury your head in the sand and listen to one thing. And sometimes I've got a friend of mine that kind of jokingly says, well, I just bury my head in the sand because nothing changes. And I have to honestly say that a lot of times he's right with that. But when I really sit down and fundamentally think about it, you really, you need to have a broad spectrum of what you're taking in on any subject matter so you can form an educated opinion. And I feel like a lot of times these algorithms on social media pick up on what you like. Or so if you're right-leaning, left-leaning, I'll say this and then I'm completely off of politics. Right-leaning or left-leaning, it's going to show you more of one thing or the other. So it's always the same thing over and over and over and over. And I kind of feel like you can almost get indoctrinated on either side of the coin because that's just all you hear, and there's no meaningful discussion on either side to get you somewhere where it actually makes sense. So anyway, enough about politics. So back to how this relates to social media and the arguing and all that. I mean, I just feel like we really need to step back sometimes and take a look at ourselves and what we put out on social media or out through whatever kind of messaging apparatus you want to use. You really need to step back and think about it for a minute, like what you're writing. I mean, some of these opinions about stuff that a grown man will put out, I mean, does it really matter? No, I'll go ahead and answer that. It doesn't. And I guess the same could be said about this podcast right now. I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate against myself at this moment, but this podcast really doesn't matter. It does. I guess in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't. If you choose to listen to it, you may find some use out of it, but you could also turn it off and go listen to whatever, Rogan or somebody else right now. It doesn't really matter. So we need to just kind of start focusing on trying to do positive things, I guess, a positive post, rather, is what I think I'm trying to say. But also, beyond the positive post, we need to really start thinking about what we're posting and what kind of negative impact it could have on the very thing that we love to do. And that's going back into this dancing around the dead animals thing, man. Like, you start posting this and it's like trending, and you look at these videos and it'll have 100-something-thousand likes on TikTok, and then you go to the comments and then it's like a fight battle royale back and forth. You got a lot of people that think like me, and those are the right ones, by the way, but you got a lot of people that think like me, and then you'll have other people that are like, oh, well, they're just playing and having fun and all that, and that may be true, but the life of something is nothing to play about. I don't really understand that. And maybe I'm just getting old and crotchety, and I am very much happy when I kill my ducks. I'm very much happy when I shoot that nice 8-point, 10-point deer. So it's okay to be happy. It's okay to want to hunt. It's okay to be proud to hunt, to be proud to display these animals. It is very much okay, but we need to do it in a manner that portrays us as something other than a bunch of clowns, because that negatively impacts not only you, but everybody that likes to hunt. Because believe it or not, this anti-hunting movement is a real thing. If you don't think it can happen here, you are a fool, because it can. There are more people that do not hunt in this country than there are that hunt. Now, I know that the people that hunt are the reason why we still have ducks. They're the reason why we still have white-tailed deer, why we still have longbeards walking around. Why, it benefits all the wildlife, because hunters actually put their money where their mouth is. Unlike anti-hunters, most of those just like to get online and spew their hate against people that are hunting. Hunters actually put their money where their mouth is, but don't think for a second that it can't be limited or taken away, because it can. I think I may have mentioned this on a podcast before, but if I have, I'm sorry. And for those of you that may have not heard it, I encourage all y'all to look up Australia. The battle that those guys have gone through, are still going through, especially when it comes to being able to waterfowl hunt. There's actually a pretty rich heritage of waterfowl hunting in Australia, and they have been under attack, man. They have been under serious attack. And I encourage y'all to go look into that. If you just Google it, it'll show up. Another place is like Europe. A lot of these European countries over there, you can't just pick up a shotgun and go hunt. I mean, there's a lot more to it. There's not as many places that you can legally hunt. It's a lot harder to get a firearm and a firearms license. It's harder to get ammunition. They have all sorts of laws on how these things have to be stored, how they have to be transported, all the money that's involved in being at the fees and licenses and all this to be able to have that. And everybody's going to feel a little bit different about this subject, because you got some people that want absolutely no laws when it comes to the Second Amendment, other than, a criminal can't have one. And then you've got people that are somewhere in the middle and go, well, it's not unreasonable to make sure that we don't have criminals walking around with these, that we don't have mentally unstable people walking around with these, that, hey, I don't mind you having a shotgun or a hunting rifle, but you don't need an AR-15. So you got those people. And then you've got the far other end of the spectrum that just want everything completely banned, take it away. So you have these people that here in the United States, that if they can't take away the hunting, then they'll attack the guns. If they can't take away the guns, then they'll attack the ammunition, or some sort of all of the above. I mean, look at California. California is so hard to go hunt there now. As a non-resident, I'm pretty sure in saying this that you cannot go to California and buy ammunition. When you go to California, you'd have to, go with an outfitter and the ammunition be supplied through that outfitter or through somebody there. I know when I hunted California, before this law changed, you had to show a driver's license to even buy ammunition, and then they limited you on the amount you could buy. So that's in California already. So basically, it can definitely happen here. The right to hunt is definitely our right, but I feel like it's going to be a constant battle throughout our lifetime and beyond to be able to keep that right. I think that the gun laws are so back and forth depending on who's in office at the time and whatnot. But even those are going to be in question throughout our whole lifetime, I think. I mean, obviously, I'm definitely pro 2A. I mean, hell, you can't be a hunter and not. But I do think that there's enough of the opposition out there and enough people in these large cities that don't have the hunting experience, they've never shot a gun before. The only time they hear anything about a gun is when somebody robs the convenience store down the road, or there's a drive-by shooting in downtown Chicago or whatever. So when they hear about a gun, that's what they associate a gun with. Whereas somebody like me, when somebody says something about a gun, I'm like, well, damn, did you get a new rifle or a new shotgun? What'd you get? I mean, we going duck hunt with this thing? Is this a dove gun? I mean, it's just a totally different mindset of us that hunt, and we can't fathom the fact that there are people out there that don't understand that. But let me assure you, there are people out there that don't understand that and that don't agree with our right to have guns and our right to hunt. So all that ties back into, we do not need to give them any more ammunition. We don't need to give them any more reason to think that we're crazy. And these stupid dances make you look like you are crazy. And to that fact, I would agree with them. So anyway, so y'all know how I feel about that. The last little thing I want to talk about, which will kind of tie into that first part, is all these fake hunters, man. Fake outdoorsmen. You have so many people on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on all these things, that the only reason why they're doing what they do is for those likes and for those clicks. Now, I know that somebody's going to listen to this and go, well, you got a podcast and you post it up and you want people to listen and all that's true. And so I'm not hating on somebody for having a podcast, obviously. I'm not hating on somebody for posting up a picture of their hunt, posting up their little boy's first turkey, their little girl's first ducks, or whatever the case may be. All that is fantastic and great. I love seeing it. So I'm always on there looking for that kind of content. But y'all know the people I'm talking about. I hate to call out the women on this, but there are so many of these quote unquote hunter influencer girls, whatnot, that are on there that have never shot anything hardly before in their life, but they got pretty long blonde hair or whatever it is. And the first picture they show up, they go hunting with somebody sometime or whatever, which is great, man. But they'll go catch a fish or shoot a turkey or whatnot. And then they've got, their boobs hanging out yeah. I mean, it's just obvious. I mean, it's obvious what they're on there. And men, we're so simple-minded creatures that they just keep getting those clicks and those views and those clicks and those views. And it blows these people up that really aren't hunters. They're doing it pretty much strictly for the social media relevance, the likes, the clicks, to be able to, potentially make money off of this thing or whatever like that. But they really they're not hunting for the hunt, if that makes sense. They're not hunting because they love to hunt. They're hunting for clicks is what they're hunting for. And I'm not going to get on here and call anybody out. If y'all have got any names that pop in your mind when I say that, well, if the shoe fits, wear it. I'll say the same thing again. And I know I picked on women right there, but y'all have seen the post. You know the exact girls I'm talking about. They get on there and do this. And there are guys that are the same way, not necessarily with the boobs, obviously, but guys that are the same way, that if they could not post it on social media, they would rather not go do it. They just would rather not go. If they had to go hunt a piece of property and then couldn't post up that hunt that day when they left, they just soon rather not go, because they're hunting for the likes and for the clicks instead of hunting for the hunt, hunting for the tradition, hunting for the love of doing it, hunting for the food aspect, hunting for, all these things that are primal instincts in us that were built into us. a lot of people are not hunting for any of those reasons. And by God, hunting's fun. It is. And I hunt a lot for fun. I do. And I hunt a lot for sport. And yes, I'll post some pictures on social media. There's a lot more that I don't post for certain reasons in certain places or certain times. I don't post everything I do. I know some things are, especially the older I get, some things now, it goes back to that ammunition being, things being frowned upon. There's certain times where I'll go do something that's perfectly legal, but I stop and think like, man, if I were to post this now, who's going to see this? What impact could that have overall on this sport that I love? And I'll go back to something Mr. Pat Pitt says. I'm pretty sure he told me, this is a sport. A lot of people say that it isn't, but nobody, at least in the United States, I can't say nobody. I would say the overwhelming vast majority of people are not subsistence hunting. We're hunting because we like to do it. We're hunting because it's fun. We're hunting because we do get the food from it. There's a lot of reasons why people hunt. And I don't want to sit here and dog on somebody that's hunting and posting something on social media, because go look at my social media. I got stuff posted all over it. But hunting specifically for that, and hunting for these likes, clicks, views, hunting for so you can dance around the turkey or dance around the ducks and all that. I mean, man, it's all totally ass backwards. And we're going down this trail that it almost seems like the reality of what people are doing, it's like it's not even, they don't even realize or understand that they're out there taking the life of something. It's just like, oh, well, let's just go do this so we can do a TikTok dance and see how many of our douchebag friends will like it on TikTok when I post it. Or the validation of strangers. I mean, again, I know guys are going to listen to this and go, well, you're posting content all the time. Well, that's true, especially now with this podcast. I am. So I'm not hating on you posting the stuff or posting pictures, but it's not the sole reason. The sole reason why you're hunting shouldn't be for likes and clicks. If you've got to push your boobs up, ridiculous, hold a fish out here and 90% of what we're seeing are your boobs and 10% is the fish, then, the fish isn't really what we're looking at here, okay? So it's the same thing with these dances. You go kill the turkey, but the goal is so we can do this dance and put a trendy rap song on it and look like morons spinning around in a circle. Well, now it's 90% about those clicks and views of your dancing and getting that knee-jerk reaction than it is what that animal sacrificed so you could stand there with that turkey. So put the turkey, treat the turkey with respect. Get them up on that nice grassy knoll on top of that rock beside the creek, with the mountains in the background, whatever the case may be. Put his fan out. Get those pretty pictures, man. Make the taxidermy, do the feather art, do the full mount, do whatever it is you want to do, and all that is awesome. But let's do it for the right reasons. That has really been bugging me lately. And it just seems like more and more and more is happening every day. And it's not just the young people. Now, it is a overwhelming majority of, at least of what I've seen, are younger people. But I'm talking about, I've been seeing men, I'm almost 40. I've been seeing men older than me doing this. That's sad. Like, if you're 40-something years old and that's how you need to get validation for a turkey that you killed, you really need to step back and evaluate your life and what makes you happy and where you're at in your life. Because that's just not, that's not it, bro. That is not it. It's not a good look. That's not it. So anyway, I've been rambling on here for, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes or something like this. And this was just a bonus episode. So we're going to kind of keep this one short. I normally don't like to do these podcasts where it's just me talking, but I am going to do a bonus episode every once in a while like this. I did one a little while back about freelance and waterfowl dying. If those of y'all haven't heard that and want to listen to me ramble for a few more minutes, go back and listen to that one in a little earlier episode. But when something strikes me like this, I am going to get on here and talk about it because I feel like it needs to be said. and I feel like it needs to be heard. And if you don't like it, if it offends you, whatever. I truly don't care. You need to check yourself in the mirror and see evaluate why you're doing what you're doing, and remember that you are taking the life of an animal, and that animal is a special animal. I don't care if it's a hooded merganser, a ringneck, a turkey, Merriam turkey, a white-tailed deer, a 400-inch elk, whatever it is, they all are special in their own ways, and they all need to be treated with respect. So hunt for the right reasons. Take you some nice quality pictures or video content if that's what you want to do, but keep it respectful to the animal. And don't make a fool of yourself on the internet, guys, because that kind of stuff never goes away. And if I see somebody do something like that, I can't take you serious. Like, I just can't. Anything you say after that to me is just irrelevant. I cannot take you serious after that. So y'all have been listening to the Southern Flight Podcast. I'm going to get off this rant here, and we'll see y'all next time.